Hey guys, Lawrence DeMonico here, president of Rare Breed Triggers, and I've got some big news. The ATF is now finally returning illegally seized force reset triggers. That's right. Thanks to a court order secured by the National Association for Gun Rights, the ATF is now starting to return triggers they confiscated after federal judge Reed O'Connor in the Northern District of Texas struck down their unlawful ban on force reset triggers. We have now received confirmation of at least one NAGR member getting his trigger back. But with that said, it's not happening automatically. And while they may have started to return triggers, you can bet your rear end that they are kicking and screaming the whole time. Now that Trump has won the election, you can bet your rear end that NAGR will be leading the charge to end all of the ATF's illegal and unconstitutional orders on day one. But remember, we still have to survive the lame duck session of Congress for the rest of November and December, and rebanning triggers like ours is on the top of the agenda for the gun grabbers in Congress. You know that. And of course, please don't forget that Rare Breed Triggers and myself are still fighting our asses off to end our separate litigation in New York. Now you may be thinking to yourself, wait, how is RBT still in New York? Well, that's a great question. Since the DOJ decided to bring a civil fraud claim against us in New York, and now the predicate issue of whether or not an FRT is a machine gun has been decided, you would think the DOJ or the court itself would simply drop the case. Well, no. It's my opinion that the DOJ is not acting in the best interest of justice and is simply seeking revenge. They want to make an example of us. I believe the DOJ and ATF have been weaponized against me in order to set an example and punish me for standing up for my rights. Truthfully, I think they're upset that I just didn't kiss the ring and ask for their blessing. And once they illegitimately told me to cease and desist, I didn't simply comply with their unlawful order. This doesn't sit well with them because they're used to people just doing what they say, when they say, why they say. And we all know it's wrong. It should be no surprise that even though a federal court ruled FRTs are not machine guns, the ATF has denied me an FFL. I've also been debanked, and I've even been audited by the IRS. I truly don't think the DOJ plans to let me get back to a normalcy in my life until they are made to do so. But with all of that said, one thing is certain. We must stop them cold and win all of these cases. And the best way to do that is to make sure that we have the resources available to do so. So please join NAGR today. And if you're already a member, please make another small donation and help us see these legal and legislative battles through to the end. No matter how small, every donation helps. Right now, we only know for sure that the ATF is going to be returning triggers to members of the National Association for Gun Rights, and only if that member asks for their trigger back. This is why I've been encouraging everyone to become a member of NAGR since the beginning of this litigation. And if you're not a member, you should do so right now using the link in the description below, or go to notriggerban.com right now to join NAGR and their legal foundation. Now, I can't guarantee that joining today will ensure that you'll get your trigger back. There's a bit of a gray area that involves the date an individual became a member, but to give you a little insight without going way into the weeds, I'll give you a brief explanation. The DOJ is arguing that in order for the court's order to apply, an individual needed to be a member when the lawsuit was filed. But there is a very clear precedent stating that the court's order should even apply to individuals that became members after the fact. And that is what we're arguing, but of course, it shouldn't surprise you that the ATF and DOJ are making every possible argument in order to give them some kind of cover to continue stepping all over your rights. But NAGR is a group spearheading this lawsuit, and to maximize your chances of getting your trigger back and to support overall winning, I'm still encouraging everyone to join NAGR and their legal foundation right now. As far as I know, this is one of the only times in history where the ATF has been forced to tuck tail and return items that they have illegally seized from American citizens. So, even though it's starting off with a trickle, the fact that they have started to return FRTs represents a major win. And based on Judge O'Connor's order, the ATF has a deadline of February 22nd, 2025 to finish completing the process of returning triggers. And if you are a member of the National Association for Gun Rights, or once you are, we are encouraging you to contact your local ATF field office and respectfully let them know that you'd like your confiscated FRT back. And if you go this route, be sure to do it via email so there's a record of the communication. Personally, I don't encourage people to interact with the ATF directly, so if you'd rather not and would feel more comfortable, you can email the National Foundation for Gun Rights at frt@gunrights.org, and their legal team may be able to assist you in this process. And of course, let us know what the ATF says. When the court order was released earlier this year, it was like pulling teeth to get the ATF to comply and give them back. So I'm extremely happy to hear they're finally starting to comply. If the ATF says yes to you, let us know. And if they say no to you, let us know. Again, the email address for that is frt@gunrights.org. The reason we want your feedback on your experience is so that NAGR's legal team can keep track on whether or not the ATF is actually complying with the court order. And please let me remind you, without the National Association for Gun Rights, there's a very good chance that I wouldn't still be standing here today. Of all of the Pro-2A groups across the country, NAGR was the only group that stepped up to assist me in this fight. So without their help, there's a good chance there would be no forced reset triggers. So please, if you're able to help, you can do that at notriggerban.com. Once again, that's notriggerban.com, which is the official NFGR fund for fighting this case and the only fund endorsed by Rare Breed Triggers. On behalf of myself and everyone at Rare Breed Triggers, I want to say thank you for your support. Take care, and God bless.
Hey, this is Hannah Hill. You just finished hearing from Lawrence about our forced reset triggers case, and we actually have a few really cool updates to give you next week, so stay tuned. We got our oral argument date. That will be December 9th at the 5th Circuit, and we got some help from an unexpected quarter that we're going to be telling you about next week. Also, stay tuned because we are getting ready to take the offense on Capitol Hill and reclaim a lot of lost territory on the Second Amendment now that we have the new administration incoming. So a lot of fun stuff coming. Stay tuned for some really cool announcements next week.